The pilot of the single-passenger helicopter, or gyrocopter, is a postal carrier from Florida. He faces 2 criminal charges. The pilot says it was a political protest. A pro-family leader points to the consequences of political correctness upon hearing news that a male TSA screener sexually assaulted male passengers at Denver International Airport.
According to the CBS affiliate in Denver, 2 transportation security employees were fired after a plot was discovered in which the passenger screening systems were manipulated to allow a male screener to grope the private areas of attractive male passengers. It was said to have happened a dozen times.
A bunch of men were sexually assaulted by a pervert at the TSA. That's what this story's really about.
Peter LaBarbera is president of Americans for Truth about homosexuality.
I think the lesson here is that it's wrong not to factor in the realities of homosexual behavior and homosexual attraction.
LaBarbera says political correctness allowed the man to be in position to commit the abuse.
Political correctness says we can only talk about homosexuality in terms of gay rights and civil rights, and we don't think at all about the realities of what the issue's all about, which is actual sexual behavior and attraction between people of the same sex.
The TSA reportedly learned of the accusations back in November, but it took nearly 3 months before any action was taken. I'm Bill Bumpus.
The House has voted to repeal the estate tax or death tax. Conservatives have been pushing for repeal for years, saying family businesses and farms are hit hard by the tax upon the death of the property owner. Palmer Schoening is a spokesman for the Family Business Coalition, an organization that was pushing for repeal.
We got 240 votes in favor of death tax repeal. So it's a very positive step in the right direction. And we hope that we can eventually have death tax repeal included in a comprehensive tax reform package down the line.
The bill now goes to the Senate. Some Democrats say repealing the tax would help the rich, but Palmer Schoening says Thursday's vote was bipartisan. Jeb Bush says he will make up his mind in relatively short order whether to seek the Republican presidential nomination in 2016. The former Florida governor will be in New Hampshire this weekend to speak at town hall-style meetings at 2 businesses and at a Republican event. During a visit to Mississippi Thursday, he said he is not concerned that several other presidential hopefuls have had a head start getting into the race. He says he's on a journey to measure support, and it's not relevant to him what others are doing. Adrian Peterson has been cleared to return to the NFL.
The National Football League has announced that Minnesota running back Adrian Peterson has been reinstated to the league from the commissioner's exempt list. Commissioner Roger Goodell informed Peterson in a letter that he is able to fully participate in all team activities. Peterson has been suspended since November 4th when he pled no contest to a misdemeanor reckless injury charge after injuring his son while disciplining him last spring. David Leatherman, Minneapolis.
The U.S. economy continues to chug along, albeit at a restrained pace. Ben Thomas has the numbers.
The number of Americans filing claims for jobless benefits rose by 12,000 last week, but the total remains relatively low. And even with the increase, the Labor Department reports the total number of people collecting benefits is down, falling to 2,270,000, the lowest level in 14 years. There's still little sign that the momentum in the job market is helping the housing industry, though. The Commerce Department says U.S. homebuilders opened the spring buying season at a slower pace than last year, breaking ground at an annual rate of 926,000 homes in March.
And this lawsuit's bite was a lot worse than the barks. An Oregon couple has won nearly $240,000 in a lawsuit over their neighbors' constantly barking dogs. For more news and information, visit onenewsnow.com.
100 days, 100 subscribers at $7 will bring FirstAmendmentRadio.com to the minimum level necessary to sustain it through 2015. Go to support.FirstAmendmentRadio.com. $7 a month. Really, you can afford that for our Protestant First Amendment rights and the gospel of the kingdom message. Where your heart is, there will your treasure be also. Go to support.FirstAmendmentRadio.com.
You're listening to FirstAmendmentRadio.com worldwide. Freedom is never free. We need your support today at FirstAmendmentRadio.com.
black helicopters, government corruption, waging war on the New World Order. It's all right here on the Jon Arthur Live Radio Show. Now, live from his worldwide command post in the studios of WXEI, 95.3 FM in Crestview, Florida. Here is Jon Arthur.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jim Michaels. Hello, America. Hello, world. The Jon Arthur Live Radio Show is on the air. We're broadcasting live this evening from the studios of WXEI Radio, 95.3 FM, the talk of Crestview. Coming up this hour, lots of good information for you. Wow. It's insane. Again, right at 7 o'clock Central Time, and we've had a devil of a time the last couple of days calling into the radio show. One was just an issue with something not being hung up, but yesterday could not get through at all. Today, the computer was saying, well, you don't have Skype on your computer. I'm clicking on Skype, and it says you don't have Skype. Had to reboot the whole computer. Actually, I used my cell phone to connect on Skype. And then finally, the minute I did that, I guess the New World Order crowd decided, oh, well, we can't beat him because we're not keeping him off the air, so might as well let him on the computer. So we're back on the computer doing the show. It's just I don't understand it, except that we're constantly under attack. I'm under attack. Obviously, Christians are under attack, and patriots as well. But we're ready to do battle with the New World Order, and my goodness, I'm just glad to tell you that we're on the air. If you'd like to be a part of the show, certainly give us a call toll-free. 877-777-9934 is the phone number if you'd like to be a part of the show. 877-777-WXEI. In addition to your calls, California parents shut down the vote on mandatory vaccines. We'll talk about that. We have a lot of listeners in California. We'll talk about the local police now, caught acting like the NSA, and I have some statistics for you that cops kill thousands more Americans than terrorists do. So all this wagging the dog with the politicians about the terrorists. More cops are killing Americans than terrorists. So we'll talk about all this. And, of course, we'll take your calls. 877-777-9934. 877-777-WXEI. Be a part of the show. Well, an interesting story to start off the radio show. We talk an awful lot about the police state, and we talk about the fact that the police generally are not good people, and that it's do as I say, don't do as I do. I have a great example of that very thing out of Virginia. Fairfax County Police say one of their officers has now been arrested for child pornography. Wow. Yeah, these people come to investigate and make sure things are right in your world, but in their world's not even right. Officer William Bud Walker was arrested this afternoon at police headquarters, charged with 2 counts of child pornography possession. This matter is disappointing to all of us, including all the members of the Fairfax County Police Department who put their lives on the line each and every shift. So said Police Chief Ed Rossler. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children received a tip from a blogging and social media site that child pornography was uploaded onto its servers from a Fairfax County home that was owned by Mr. Walker. So the police department in Fairfax, Virginia, Fairfax County, says that one of their officers is checking out little children naked. Sick stuff. It's just offensive what the police are doing these days. Well, a lawsuit now, switching to another subject, same basic subject matter, but a lawsuit says that police, and I'll give you the full details here, but police now tried to spy on a whistleblower case by infecting a hard drive of a computer. As if using Stingray cell phone grabbing systems isn't enough. Now we have evidence that local police departments are acting as if they are the NSA. Hacking into computers. A recent lawsuit filed on behalf of 3 Fort Smith police whistleblowers details a hard drive given to attorney Matthew Campbell from the Fairfax, Fort Smith, police department, which contained 3 different Trojan malware viruses. See, this is why I suspect that here in Crestview, Florida, this is going on, and why I have so many problems with my computer. I get the distinct impression, and I hate to say it, that I'm being targeted, and my computers probably have all sorts of crazy viruses on them. If you'd like to be a part of the show, again, I'd like to hear from you. All you have to do is pick up your telephone. It's 877-777-9934. But how you like this? Cops are acting like the NSA, and they're hacking into computers and basically putting malware on folks' computers. One would have kept my internet active if I tried to turn it on. One would have stolen any passwords that I entered in, and the other would have allowed the installation of malicious software, Campbell said. So this is the attorney, Matthew Campbell, basically stating for a recent lawsuit that, and these are whistleblowers. These are police officers that said, you know what? I got to tell the truth. They said, I got to tell the truth. I got to release this. The police department has gone rogue. Campbell said, it's not like these are my only clients either. I've got all my client files in my computer. I don't know what they were looking for, but just the fact that they would do it is pretty scary. Looks like the Fort Smith Police Department thinks they are the junior NSA agent. This obviously represents both a terrible precedent and a blatant attempted violation of attorney-client privilege, my friends. But do you understand what's going on here? The police have gone rogue. It's just bizarre. Police are viewing child pornography, but at the same time, the same police are
using illegal, unwarranted actions to spy on political enemies. Well, speaking of the stingrays, it's called an IMSI catcher or stingray, a fake cell phone tower. And we've talked about this in the past. It sends a cell phone signal to it rather than to a real cell phone tower. The FBI has bent over backwards to keep the public unaware about this. The provisions required by local and state police are straight out of 1984, the George Orwell novel. Well, tug of war caused the FBI to have cases thrown out to protect the technology. 2012, Buffalo, New York. Judge Patrick Niemoyer detailed against the FBI's orders how a deal was struck between the FBI and the Erie County Sheriff's Office to drop criminal charges rather than to reveal any information concerning the cell phone site simulator or its use. So this is the bizarre thing, my friends. What we're looking at here is the police departments and the FBI running fake cell phone towers that sends your conversation, your signal, your information to this IMSI catcher, a stingray, rather than sending your call to a real cell phone tower. So they can get all your information. They can spy on you. The whole 9 yards. It's bizarre, to say the least. So, here you have the local NSA, the Gestapo, the police, acting as if they are the NSA, acting as if they're the police. And then now we find out that the FBI will do anything it can to try and hide this technology from you and I. Because I think once folks find out about this, folks are going to stop using their cell phones, or they're going to do whatever they can to protect their conversations and of course make sure they don't go to these stingrays. It's just a sign of the times that we're living in again. Well, I gave you the initial data when we started off the radio show, and I told you what we're going to be talking about tonight. I told you that cops kill thousands more Americans than terrorists. An estimated 16,000 Americans have been killed by police in the last 15 years. So 16,000 Americans dead. 16,000 Americans in the last 5 years. I mean, you hear it from all the politicians, right? Constantly warning every day that there's this deadly threat from terrorists, from homegrown radical extremists to ISIS camps in Mexico. You notice we don't talk about a lot of that on this radio show? You know why? Because I know a lot of it's fabricated. A lot of it is garbage. I mean, the fear is constantly pumped out to the masses via the mainstream media. But there is a more immediate and deadly threat to Americans across this nation. One that can strike at any time. And one that has killed untold thousands more then lost their lives on September 11, 2001, and every other terrorist incident since. That's right. The threat is the police. The threat is your local police department. You are, at the very least, 8 times more likely to be killed by a police officer than a terrorist. So why are we cringing when we hear ISIS, or when we hear Al Qaeda, or we hear about some kind of terrorist activity? We should be cringing every time we see a police car drive by. Cops in the United States, folks, are responsible for way more deaths on American soil than terrorism since the year 2000. Indeed, in that time, police have killed at least 5,600 people via gunshots, taserings, beatings, and other forms of violence. And that figure represents more than the total number of the U.S. combat deaths in all wars since 2000. Those are the findings of Fatal Encounters, an impartial nonprofit organization working to build the national database of police killings in the United States. The organization notes that the data it collects is largely based on public information requests, but the bulk of it, the part that will make it sustain after the structure is built, will use crowdsourcing to update the database. So how many people are killed in interactions with law enforcement in the United States and America? Are they increasing? What do these people look like? The organization asks on its website. Well, the data gathered has been set up on an interactive map of every documented police killing over the last 15 years. And it's not pretty, folks. Well, Fatal Encounters states its mission brief is that while the FBI collects vast amounts of information on crime nationwide, it does not release collated statistics on how often police use that same deadly force. In addition, it's not even mandatory for local and state agencies to report the circumstances of the killings, and consequently whether police were even involved. Americans should have the ability to track that act. Thus, the data collected and used to create this map of police killings is incomplete at this time. It's significantly incomplete. The organization estimates that it has only captured about 35% of total police killings since 2000. So at best, the map represents a minimum of police-related killings over the last 15 years. By those calculations, 16,000 Americans are likely to have been killed by police in that time, over 1,000 every year. Over 1,000 people killed by the Gestapo every year. In comparison with other first world nations, only 3 people were killed by police in 2014 in the UK, 12 people in Canada, 8 over the last 2 years in Germany. All this despite the fact that the crime index highlights that countries like the UK aren't far behind America in regards to the overall crime rate. So what it is the police are respecting their people. They're not killing them. They're actually capturing them and jailing them. How many times have we seen these tasers being used to kill Americans? Unwarranted. when all the police officers had to do was just tackle somebody, take them to the ground and arrest them. No, we'll just shoot them with the taser or we'll kill them. Or we'll kill them with the taser. Very, very disturbing. The level of police killings appears to be escalating into an epidemic, of course. We've talked about this on this show for years. And, you know, a lot of folks that were listening to my show and they were like, no, this can't be true. It can't be true. It's it's not happening. It's been happening, folks. It is indicative of an endemic societal divide between Americans and their government. Yes, police work for the government. They're not working for you. That's a problem. So are you still afraid of these phantom ISIS camps on your border? Or does being shot dead merely for having a broken taillight seem a more realistic threat? Be honest with yourself. It's simply sick. It's sick what we're seeing going on in this country. And it's, again, indicative of a world gone mad. It's just sad, my friends. If you'd like to comment, I'd love to hear your voice. I'd love to hear your comments tonight. 877-777-WXEI. 877-777-WXEI. If you can't get through, let me know. 877-777-9934. But again, I mean, how long is it going to be that we as Americans put up with this? Your local police are acting like the NSA, but in the same respect, they're committing crimes. They're viewing child pornography. And then you look at the data. The data's out there. And the cops are killing thousands of Americans every single year. Thousands of you and I. They're the bad guy. They are the bad guys, my friends. 877-777-9934. You know, we're living in a crazy society, and it's getting worse. You know, recently I've had a lot on my mind, and I've had a hard time dealing with the world in itself. Things are getting better for me because I came to the realization. I came to the realization today, and don't laugh, but I came to the realization that nothing matters. Nothing matters except for Jesus Christ. Because we're all going to die, folks. All of what we see around us is fleeting. We'll be back, second segment, plus your calls straight ahead. You're listening to Jon Arthur Live. Keep it right here on First Amendment Radio Network. We'll be right back, folks.
Years ahead of the dominant media, FirstAmendmentRadio.com and FirstAmendmentRadio.net. Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty, to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host, Melody Cedarstrom, right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, 1-800-375-4188. The program you are listening to is 100% sponsored by you, the listener, on this First Amendment Rights Media channel. You will notice that there are few commercials on this radio network. There's a good reason for that. Corporate advertising dollars come with strings that limit program content. So without your help, these programs cannot continue on internet or our several affiliates. If you benefit by the educational law programs, we ask you to give. If you are admonished or nurtured by the Bible and ministry programs, we ask you to give. If some voice a cause that you are passionate about, we ask you to give. If you believe in any of these, we ask you to support them as you would a missionary on a continual basis, as if giving a tithe for missionary radio. These programs are not commercially viable and must be supported by those faithful to the cause of truth. Look for the button to sponsor your favorite programs at our listen and schedule pages on the internet. Then, when you subscribe, we will send you the last quarterly MP3 CD of that program immediately, and continue to do so with each new quarter. We will also give you unlimited archive access to all of our programs. We're asking you to give much less than a tithe, so that you may also send support directly to a particular program host, cause, and anywhere else the Spirit may lead you. Do all to the glory of our God and Creator, for His holy nation, the only kingdom that will last forever. Thank you for listening.
Minutes after the hour, you're listening to the Jon Arthur Live Radio Show across America and around the world. Welcome back to the second segment of the Jon Arthur Live Radio Show. If you'd like to get involved on the show, love to hear from you. All you have to do is pick up your telephone, 877-777-9934, 877-777-WXEI. You know, we talked an awful lot about the fact that we've got the police acting as if they are the military, the fact that the police are acting as if they're above the law, killing you and I. A very disturbing story out of Ontario, California. And there's video footage that goes along with this story. Armed National Guard troops, it has been released now, are patrolling residential streets in California. You know, we've got a lot of listeners in California, and First Amendment Radio Network is based out of California. Well, video footage out of Ontario, California, shows armed National Guard troops patrolling residential streets and practicing traffic control. How would you like to see that? The video, which was shot this past weekend, features guard troops marching in formation while chanting a military cadence. Troops take turns practicing blocking traffic. This is outrageous. The troops, followed by a Humvee, march close to an elementary school and single-family homes. Can you imagine? Your traffic is stopped by the military. They're carrying guns in your neighborhood. I'm sure that some of you are probably saying, "Well, that's great. Makes me feel a lot more safe." No, you know what that is? It's a violation of posse comitatus. Well, one YouTube commenter responded, and we'll put this up on not only my website, but probably on the Facebook page of Jon Arthur Live. One of the Facebook commenters said, "I just watched it again and recognized the low block wall in elementary school. It was right there where my sister and her husband live." She said, "Oh my God, it's frightening." Others insisted the trolls were just a routine occurrence. Routine? Routine. How in the world can it be routine? And another respondent insisted that the patrol was not normal. "During the last few seconds, I got a quick glimpse of my sister and brother-in-law's house," wrote the commenter. "That motorcycle was parked almost in front of their house. They told me they saw this procession going on from their front yard. They have lived in that house for 30 or more years. And this is the first time they've seen this type of thing in their neighborhood. Might be a common thing to do their training somewhere else, but not in this neighborhood." Well, here's the concern, my friends. Concerns about the presence of troops on American streets have now heightened since the announcement of Jade Helm, an upcoming nationwide military exercise that some fear is a dry run for martial law. Wow. Incredible. That's all I can say is incredible. And why would there be martial law in America? We're a free nation. Well, a National Guard drill based around dealing with civil unrest after a dirty bomb attack in Richmond, California, featured role players acting as angry Americans yelling right-wing rhetoric. I talked about that last week. Footage captured by a local shows Guard troops pushing irate citizens away from them with batons before one of the protest groups states, "I'm a sovereign citizen. I refuse to recognize you guys. I refuse to recognize you." Well, here's the kicker, my friends. Disturbing video out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, also showed military and law enforcement practicing the internment of citizens during martial law style training. I'm here to tell you, folks, this is not a normal occurrence. When armed National Guard troops are patrolling residential streets, something's going on. This is going on in Florida. This is going on in California. This is potentially a dry run in preparation for martial law. My comment is, folks, you need to arm yourselves. You need to get prepared, my friends, for what is to come. Because I can tell you things are not going to be real pleasant. And I can tell you that horrible, horrible, insane times are headed our way. If you'd like to be a part of the show, again, 877-777-WXEI. 877-777-9934. So you got the dry run for martial law. You got martial law style training going on in neighborhoods. You've got the police treating Americans like garbage. More Americans have died at the hands of police than terrorists. Do you see what's going on, folks? Do you understand? You know, it's again a sign of the times that we're living in. A sign of the times that we're living in. Things are certainly not going well for this nation. But it's biblical. It's biblical, my friends. It's getting to the point now where eventually you're going to have a mark. The New World Order is going to ask you for your mark. Swipe your right hand here. Swipe your forehead here. And, you know, the sad thing is folks are going to fall in lockstep and barrel. Christians and patriots, sovereign citizens are going to say, you know what? You don't own me. I'm not taking your mark. Then eventually, you'll be jailed if you don't have the mark, if you can't pay your bills. So, God will, of course, protect his own. Some of the patriots that are not Christians will try and take things into their own hands by force. And the sad thing about that is, my friends, that's not going to work. It's only going to work through Jesus Christ. Christ is coming back, folks. And he is the only answer. He is the only answer, folks. And I cannot stipulate to you any clearer that if you're a patriot, you need to get your house in order from a spiritual perspective. Because we're seeing all around us a world that is imploding. We're seeing the United States of America becoming ever more a police state. Well, I've got a story that is outrageous, okay? This is, again, out of California. The headline, student sues college after campus cops demand that he get a free speech permit before handing out flyers. Since when does our First Amendment require a permit? Welcome to college. Now, kindly shut up for the next few years, right? Well, Cal Poly Pomona. The First Amendment has been reduced to asking for permission, wearing free speech badges, and a standing room only patch of ground. Well, those restrictions have now prompted a lawsuit from student Nicholas Thomas, who now alleges campus police prevented him from handing out pro-vegan flyers. And I don't laugh again, but I don't eat meat. I am not a left-wing fanatic. And, I love animals, just don't want to eat them. And so I have no problem with somebody handing out pro-vegan flyers. But it doesn't matter what the subject matter of the flyers is. That's not the concern here. You know what the concern is the fact that you have to have a free speech badge, that you can be prevented from handing out any kind of flyers, whether it's for a church, whether it's for some pro-vegan application, whatever. This is on a campus sidewalk. Police directed him to jump through the college's speech-curbing hoops before exercising his First Amendment right. I mean, the name of this network is First Amendment Radio Network, where you broadcast and you speak your mind. And it's guarded by the First Amendment. Some of the folks on this radio network are godly folks. Some people are just patriots. Some people they have agendas. They have a cause. Maybe they're anti-Catholic. Maybe they're anti-government. Maybe they're anti-police. Whatever the case may be. But it's protected by the First Amendment. If you don't like it, if you don't like that some of these hosts are not saying real nice things about the Catholic Church, then turn it. If you don't like the fact that I'm exposing the police state and the New World Order, turn it. Turn the dial. Go somewhere else. Close your mind. But it's the truth. And again, it's protected by the First Amendment. The simple fact that here you have a public college in California, which should encourage it to keep its free speech meddling to a minimum. It's a public college. It's not even a private college. Cal Poly Pomona continues to issue policy-related presidential orders that strip away students' First Amendment rights. Well, because some of those orders haven't been made public, they're open to abuse. And at some point between March 5th and today, the folks with Cal Poly Pomona, the personnel updated their website to include a missing 2014 presidential order. No new link is provided, nor the title of the existing link, New Presidential Order Use of University Buildings, Facilities, or Grounds, has been altered. Only the destination document has. Instead, whoever was in charge of this simply swapped out a 2008 order for the 2014 order without any indication that a change had taken place, which is very crafty, okay? Because together the policies establish an unconstitutional free speech zone and impose unconstitutional prior restraints on expressive activities that limit free expression at Cal Poly Pomona. The policies are contradictory, confusing, do not provide adequate notice to students regarding Cal Poly Pomona's policies on free expression. And again, I mentioned the web page. Well, the Student Life web page on the website provides links to an interim freedom of expression policy that was dated back in 2002 and a 2008 presidential order policy that was just now, like I said, but between March 5th and today, was mysteriously swapped out. The inconsistent policies obviously allow administrators to pick and choose provisions that they are going to enforce, allowing them unlimited discretion to promote or silence speech based on its content or the identity of the speaker. Cal Poly Pomona vows to respect your free speech rights provided you inform the administration 10 days in advance. You're granted permission to speak and are willing to wear a speech permit while remaining in the properly designated area. Okay, so you need to tell us 10 days in advance so we can grant you freedom of speech. I got news for the folks with Cal Poly Pomona. That's not how free speech works. It's not how it works. Well, Thomas is now hoping his lawsuit will result in the school's policies being found unconstitutional. Even if Thomas can't get the unconstitutional declaration and permanent injunction he's requesting, along with damages and costs, at least his efforts should push the school to reconsider its policies. And if not, if you have kids at Cal Poly Pomona, take them out of that school. Hit them where it hurts. Take your kids out of that school. But here you have one of the students suing the college after campus cops demand that he have a free speech permit before handing out any flyers. Simply outlandish. Those policies are unconstitutional whether or not this lawsuit and a judge states it or not. I'm telling you right now, they're unconstitutional. And it's sick. Well, one final story to close out the radio show. And I want to tell you how sick the Obama administration is and how illegal. The key word here is illegal. How illegal this administration is doing and acting and behaving. The headline off CNS News. This administration, the Obama administration, gave Social Security numbers to 541,000 illegal aliens. 541,000 illegal aliens now have Social Security numbers, are collecting benefits off you and I. And if that's not disturbing to you, then I don't know what to tell you. The Social Security numbers given to 541,000 illegal aliens, this according to Carolyn Colvin, acting commissioner of the Social Security Administration. In a March 12th letter, Senator Jeff Sessions of Alabama, I like him. He's a Republican from Alabama. He asked the Social Security Administration, how many individuals have applied for Social Security numbers as a result of the June 15th, 2012 memorandum issued by Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano entitled Exercising Prosecutorial Discretion with Respect to Individuals Who Came to the United States as Children. He got his answer. Colvin said in her April 10th response 6 days ago. By the end of the fiscal year 2014, we had issued approximately 541,000 original Social Security numbers to individuals authorized to work under the 2012 Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, and the policy since its inception. Napolitano's June 15th, 2012 memo states that for individuals who are granted deferred action by either ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, that they will grant applications and accept applications to determine whether these individuals qualify for work authorizations during this period of deferred action. So it's a lot of hogwash, but the clear story here is that this administration illegally gave Social Security numbers and benefits to illegals. 541,000. The administration put illegal aliens ahead of Americans. Does anyone have a problem with a government that respects illegal aliens that cross a border illegally more than they respect their own people? See, I've got a problem with this. Well, according to Jeff Sessions' office, an illegal immigrant who receives a Social Security number is able to draw federal tax credits, Social Security retirement benefits, and Social Security disability benefits. So you can have this administration handing out a Social Security number, and suddenly you got illegal aliens collecting disability. They probably got hurt. Maybe they hurt their leg permanently. Coming into America. Maybe they got caught on the barbed wire fence. Outrageous. Well, folks, we'll come to the end of the show. Thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow for another fun-filled, action-packed show. God bless you, my friends. God bless America. And thanks for listening to Jon Arthur Live. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Are we walking into the enemy's camp, laying our weapons down, shedding our armor as we go, leaving it on the ground? We've got to be strong in the power of His might, prove to the enemy. We are the army of the Lord, and we've won the victory.
Gold and silver is tremendously undervalued. Global demand vastly exceeds mine supply by more than 60% annually. There is little in the financial world more certain than a coming explosion in the prices of gold and silver. The U.S. dollar continues to lose value and respect as the world's reserve currency. Our nation faces challenges on many fronts, and a day doesn't pass without another economist bringing forth warnings of impending economic calamity. There has never been a better time than right now to acquire physical gold and silver. Discount Gold and Silver Trading was founded on the principles of truth and honesty. We believe in providing a quality product, quality service, and most importantly, competitive pricing. We provide all forms of precious metals, including American gold, silver, platinum, and rare investment and circulated coins. Silver bars, rounds, and 90% silver bags are on hand for the silver investor. Gold self-directed IRAs are available. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free, that's 1-800-375-4188.
I pledge allegiance to the King of Kings and to His kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. One holy nation and our Heavenly Father, grace, mercy, justice for all.
American Family News, I'm Chris Woodward. Dozens of soldiers and surviving family members from the 2009 Fort Hood shooting are receiving additional Army pay they believe was long overdue. The announcement from Army Secretary John McHugh comes a week after 30